my own hometown. Stranger.
Howdy folks, Little John in the brewery once again, and I'm in the middle of just mashing in on a session IPA or something along those lines, a hobby pale ale. I don't like the term session IPA, it just doesn't really work as far as I'm concerned. An IPA is not a session beer. No matter how you want to look at it, what you want to do with it. So, I prefer a hoppy pale ale with slightly lower alcohol. Anyway, whatever you want to call it, that's what's happening today. And for the sake of what's current and what's trendy and what's really going on at the moment, I will stick with the ruling that I'm doing a session IPA. So what I'm mashing in, I'm doing a 23 litre batch. This is in replace of the Christmas pale ale. I've got the Cerveza I knocked out recently on tap. I've got a summer lager on tap. I've got a good whack of the Fortnite pale ale still floating around. I've got a standard IPA there. I really don't think I need another lightish, easy drinking pale ale. Family's not coming for Christmas, so no one else is going to be really getting into them too much, so I'll do something for myself. Like I said, I don't believe in the terminology of a session IPA, but I do enjoy the style when it comes to drinking. A little bit extra hop, with a lower alcohol, something you can sort of have a few of without too much trouble. So what I've got in here today, it's a 23 litre batch. I've mashed in with about 16 and a half litres of water here. I've got 4 kilos of Vienna, 1 kilo of Munich, 150 grams of Carapils and 50 grams of Cara Aroma. So I think that should give me a nice malty backbone with just a little bit of colour and a tiniest little bit of sweetness and caramel from the Cara Aroma, and the Munich will boost that malt depth a little bit as well. The plan was originally to use a traditional J. White traditional ale for the base malt, but I couldn't get any. I didn't really want to run with Pilsen. I want a short process today. It's late in the afternoon. I'm only just starting. I normally get me brew on about 10 in the morning. It's now close to 5 in the afternoon. So I've got a restricted amount of time. I've had tradies here doing some tiling and stuff, so hasn't really worked out. So I want to do a shorter mash and I want to do a shorter boil, so I didn't want to muck around with Pilsner and take the risk of having diacetyl and whatnot from that DMS and all the rest of it. So I'll start with the standard base malts. So mash that in, as I said, 16 and a half litres. We'll total up with I think it's about 35 and a half litres all up. So it's about a 20 litre sparge on this one. So this is set up through the obviously through the recirculating system, through the herbs. I've got it set on 65 degrees, and I'm going to run this for 40 minutes. Then I'll jump it up to 72 for a quick 20-minute rest there, and then I'll sparge it out and get onto the boil. So we'll come back a bit later when we're looking at putting hops in. Righto folks, the mash is finished. I'm now doing start the sparge with the runoff getting down to the kettle down here on just below me here. Doing the old manual sparge, a little bit different to the old running backwards and forwards across the garage with the HLT here, which goes straight from it. Saves me a bit of mucking around. Straight on top. Now this is a new purchase for the brewery. I lashed out. Bought myself a new spar jar. The old one was getting a bit cruddy and whatnot. Anybody who has seen the previous spar jar knows it's a what a high-tech piece of gadgetry it is. But there it is, nice new one. As you don't know, just a barbecue foil tray. Cost me a couple of dollars from Woolies, and I've just pierced holes in the bottom with a nail, and it works quite nicely. They fit perfectly into the mash tun. I'm going to pop my sparge water in there, and away we go. So I've got this running off. So I'm looking for a pre-boil volume of around 29, fraction under 29 litres. So I'm going to keep going with that until I get that in the kettle. So as exciting as it is watching me pour water into the mash tun, I will shut the camera down and catch it a little bit later on. Righto folks, so we've just finished the sparge. I've got 29 litres in the kettle. It's coming to a boil. Just going to grab a quick reading on the gravity, see where we're looking. Okay, so that's telling me we're about 10:42, 10:43, 10:42, 10:43, somewhere in the vicinity. And I think we were looking for a 10:42. Let me just check. Uh, 10:42, 28.8 litres at 10:42, and we got pretty much 29, might be a fraction over 29, so a little bit of a guesstimate, but 10:42, so we're bang on target. I'm happy with that. Numbers have gone really well. So while that's coming to a boil, let's talk hops. Now, as I said earlier, this is just a shorter boil today, just to make things a little bit easier. I'm only doing a 40-minute boil, and the first hop addition will be at 20 minutes. So there's no big upfront bitterness in this. Obviously, being the session IPA with that lower alcohol, we don't want a big bitter hit. We'll get enough bitterness from the hops that we got. So what I'm going up with first is 22 grams of Simcoe, followed, that's at 20 minutes. 10 minutes after that, there'll be 27 grams of Chinook, which will go in with a Wellflup tablet. 5 minutes to go, we'll throw in 32 grams of Centennial, and the last addition will be 36 grams of Citra with 2 minutes left in the boil. So 4 hop additions. I probably will do a small dry hop on this, just because that's the way the style sort of dictates. It won't be a big one. I'll do somewhere in the vicinity of 25 grams maybe of probably the Citra, and maybe the Simcoe. I'm not sure. I'll make the decision up a little bit later. So what I'm also doing now is back sealing up the hops and a little bit of grain that I didn't use earlier. And it's probably a little bit noisy on the video, but they don't work fantastic on these bags, but just to get them sealed and get as much of the air out of them as you can is, for me, is good going. I do have extra bags which you can cut up. Now, I certainly recommend, if you haven't got one of these in amongst your gear, and you are using grains and the hops particularly, get yourself one. I can't open the Simcoe, which is the first edition. It's been in my freezer now for a good couple of months, and it smelled every bit as fresh as it did today. I put it in there. Freezing won't hurt your hops. If anything, will keep them in a much better state. Now, I've got Citron Chinook here, and I'd normally take these out of these packets and put them into the vac bag so I can actually vac seal it. But I'm going to use these again very, very soon. And in the freezer, moisture is more the enemy than actual oxygen. So I'll just make sure I've got out of there what I can. We'll run it through the vac process anyway, so it'll take a little bit. But without the channels I won't do a lot. But like I said, I'm going to open them again reasonably soon, so it's not going to make a lot of difference. I'm not going to fiddle around too much at the moment. They're still very firmly packed because they're fresh packets, so I haven't distilled. Most of the seal is already there. So that's it. Hops fixed up. There was a bit of water chemical in there. I did add some, which I didn't discuss earlier. I did add a little bit of gypsum, magnesium, potassium chloride into the mash water. Not a lot of each. And it's the first time that I've actually used this stuff. Clearly it says vitamin C, but the most important, it's calcium ascorbate. Now, apparently this is the only stuff that easily removes chloramine from your water. I've never worried about it up until now because I was pretty confident that local water supply were using chlorine. It's come to my attention though that pretty much every water supply in Australia is moving to chloramine. If they haven't done it already, they are doing it. So, a little bit of preparation. I was out and about visiting the sun in Melbourne, and I had the opportunity to grab some of this. You don't need very much. I only used a quarter of a teaspoon or something. I think that was probably more than I really needed. But given it's not flavoured, it's calcium, it's not going to hurt the water by using it. If it's too much, I don't think it's going to make any difference. If anything, it'll help with the process that's there. Okay, so yeah. So if you are, obviously, if you're mashing and you haven't got yourself any of that, get some. I got that from Chemist Warehouse, which you guys have, which is why I couldn't get it locally. I had to get it in Melbourne. It was $15 for that pack, but that's going to do. Looking at it, a couple of hundred, probably 100 brews. So that's a relatively cheap edition. So what's it, 15 cents a brew? That's not too bad. I can wear that. So everything's all sealed back up. Hops will go back in the freezer. Put everything away. Waiting for the boil. We'll put the hops in. Come back a little bit later and have a little bit of a chat about the yeast that's going on this one. Righto, folks. We've come to the end of the boil. The boil kettle's just in the middle of a whirlpool. It's sitting on 32 degrees, which is about 2 degrees above ambient at the moment. So, anyway, yeast. This batch, Slurry of MJ44, Mangrove Jack's West Coast Ale. This was taken off a batch I did back in September, so I'm assuming this would have been off. About checking my notes. Probably would have been off the Mexican. No, Fortnight Pale Ale actually. So I should have plenty of yeast numbers there to do what I want to do. So this has been sitting on with beer on it. So I've drained the water. I've drained the top off. I just grabbed a small amount of water. And the yeast has been sitting here for about half an hour, so it's up the temp. So there's no yeast shot going on there. I just want to mix the water back together a bit, just to loosen it up. It's all good. And I'm just going to let that sit now while the pot settles, while the whirlpool finishes. Then I'll transfer to the fermenter, pitch that directly and into the fridge. I'm going to brew this one at 17 degrees. I think that'll be sort of midway. I don't want it super clean. I don't want it too fruity from the yeast. I want to just let the hops to do all the work in this one. They're going to be the star of the show. They're doing all the. That's what I want to stand out. So that's it. Again, I'm not going to show you putting a beer into a fermenter. You all know how to do that. So that's it. Little John's. That's what I've called a Conundrum Session IPA. The Conundrum, as we discussed, I mean, I don't believe in such things as a Session IPA, but it's what I wanted to brew. So that's it for the day. So we'll try this. This one will be tasted later, early in the new year. So as always, even till then, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. There's plenty of other videos to watch. Ask questions if you want to. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. So till then, good brewing.